Okay. Bear with me. Okay. I'm going to start with my brows first. I'm using the Morphe M158 brush. You can use any angled brush you want. This is just the one I prefer. You can also use any pomade or pencil that you want. I use the Morphe. It's cheap and affordable, so I use that. Don't really ever use a pencil unless I'm just doing whatever, like not a full face. And I start with my brows because if not, when you're doing your foundation and everything over top of like here, it's gonna look gray and not whatever color you decide to do your brows in, and it just look weird. I learned that the hard way, actually. Okay. If you see me look up, I'm looking in my mirror. And it's okay if they look crazy during the process, because you can just clean it up with concealer. And I will show you how to I do mine. Again, everyone has their own way, so you don't necessarily have to do it my way. Whatever works best for you. My brows are never twins either. They are they're usually sisters or distant cousins. I also do not fill in this base right here or right here. You'll see why. Because it just looks weird when you go to put in your concealer and, you know, whatever else you got going on. Oops. Okay, now when you are using primer, you always want to use a gripping primer, or you know, whatever primer is going to work for you based on your skin. I have combination skin, so typically I'll use the Milk Hydrating Primer, or I'll use the e.l.f. Puttyless Primer. If you don't want to go too expensive, I would definitely go for this. Pretty cheap, Walmart. Works pretty good. I use both. I mainly use this, but I will use this sometimes. So I'll probably use both today. And this is just going to help ensure that my foundation and concealer and everything else just, you know, stays in place during this whole process. Now I'm going to conceal my brows. You can use whatever concealer you like. I typically like the Kylie Jenner one. Again, if you want more affordable, there are other options. And I just typically use the back of my hand to make the process more easy. Just helps out a lot. Don't get too much product and, you know, everything like that. And then you want to just carve them out however you like. The brush I'm using is a pretty flat brush. I don't know if you can see. Pretty flat. It's the Morphe M432. The brushes you use are going to definitely make a difference also when you're carving out your brows and doing your brows. So I would definitely use a flat brush for that. Morphe brushes are pretty cheap, but they're also a very good brand. So they're very affordable. So like I said, just carve them out however you like. I'm sorry if this is a long video. The process takes a while. And I'll just typically do this just to make sure that they look even to me. Again, everyone has their own process. So whatever process you go through to do your own is just fine. This is just typically how I like to do it. And it's okay if no one else likes how you do your makeup, because it's not them, not for them, not on their face either. So I'm just taking a little more concealer and concealing my eyes also in the process. Just makes it easier. Blend out all that so it's not so harsh. It's a trust the process moment, especially for myself, because I start looking crazy. I think I need a little more, so just add a little more. And this is the best brush to definitely do your concealer with. It is the Morphe M173 brush. Just a little blending brush. Yeah, this one is definitely good for your concealer. As you can see, looks pretty good. Sometimes I like to go over my like red areas that I just want to, you know, hide a little bit more. So I'll just typically go in with my concealer and patch up these little red spots, or if you have a pimple. I had a little more red today. I also have rosacea, so I typically try to cover that. I use 2 foundations to get my perfect shade. So I use the Milani. I use the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 in the shade Alabaster. And I use the Huda Beauty in the shade Chai. But use whatever works for you. The Milani is, again, affordable. The Huda Beauty, not so much. It is $40 a bottle. So, again, if you want affordable, go with Milani. So then I just take them and I will just find whatever brush has a good end and just mix it around to mix the 2 colors together, or 2 shades together. But again, whatever works for you. And it also gives a second for that concealer to dry. So they're not just mixing, because you don't want that. And I'll just, you know, wherever. And it's okay too if your foundation is a little dark, because the concealer is going to just lighten it up anyways. And then I'm going to take some of this foundation back on this flat brush and then just carve out the top of my brows with that. Again, my brows never are the same. So then once you have your foundation on, it also depends on what foundation you want to use. I use a full coverage. You can use one that's not so full coverage. But then it also depends on what brush you're going to use to put the foundation on. Typically, I like to use one that's definitely going to make it look more matte, so to speak, because I don't like anything showing through. So for that, I use the Morphe M444 brush, and then I'll just, you know, blend it out however I like. You want to make sure you get everything. I get my ears also, they're well blended in. And don't forget to blend your neck. A lot of people forget that and end up looking crazy because then there's just a cutoff line. So go ahead and blend everything out. Again, it's definitely a trust the process moment, because you are going to look crazy for a second until everything starts, you know, coming together. Okay. Now I'm just going to conceal in all the places I like to. So I'll conceal here. Definitely want to conceal under your eyes. And then I'll typically come down with it. Let it sit a second.